Is it purpose or focus? That drive that pushes. Photographer made it happen. Fashion design made it happen. Author made it happen. Artist made it happen. I'm here to tell you it takes focus and drive to push yourself to achieve your special place in life. You made it happen. I'm Linda Johnson, your host, and welcome to They Made It Happen. Playing outside with your children isn't just about encouraging more physical activity, although that is very good. But I want to let you know that, and you already know this, many of you already know this. A study found that kids who spend the least amount of time in green spaces, aka outside, were 55% more likely to develop psychiatric issues such as anxiety and mood disorders as adolescents or adults. That is a fact. But you know how I am. Do your own research on that, and you will find that to be true. So, what am I saying? Get outside, get outside, get outside. And you know what? Do some of the things that you typically would do indoors, bring it outside to the front porch. Yeah. Well, do people still sit on their front porches? Okay. Anyway, or on your patio, in your backyard, or down the street at your neighborhood park. So, yeah, do these kinds of things. Here's a little list, okay? And you may have been doing this, but you've got out of practice, but go ahead and start doing it again. Go for a walk. Set a timer to see how far you can go in 5 minutes or 10 minutes or 20 minutes, you know? And go for a bike ride. Or take turns playing photographer with your phone camera. That's so much fun for the little ones. Fly kites. Wow. Do they even do that anymore? Yeah, I think I've seen that. But yeah, fly kites. I used to love that as a child. Blow bubbles using a DIY recipe, and you can find tons of those online. Play classic outdoor games such as Red Rover, Red Light, Green Light. I used to love it. Or Steal the Bacon. Host a nature scavenger hunt. Look for pine cones, acorns, or other common outdoor items that you can find in your neighborhood or on your favorite trail. Hula hoop. Now, that is so much fun, especially if you can't do it or you forgot how to hula hoop, if you can forget how to hula hoop. But anyway, it's so much fun when you really can't or you're not that good at it. It makes for a fun time because your kids are going to be cracking up at you trying to hula hoop and vice versa, because some of us can really hula hoop and the kids can't. Okay, go roller skating. Play follow the leader through your yard or your neighborhood. That's so much fun. I can see that now. Draw a hopscotch board with chalk and go for it. Make homemade Play-Doh and bring it outside. It's less messy than playing on the carpet or on your floor indoors. Drive to a neighboring town and check out their playgrounds. Maybe you'll find a new favorite for you and your kiddos. Set up a canvas and let your little ones paint. Again, take it outside because you don't want to clean up a mess inside, but that's so much fun. Hand, finger painting, whatever, or just use brushes. Find a shady tree and read. All of you, get some books, go outside, set a timer under a tree or in your backyard, in a tent you've made, and just read. Or you can read to each other. Have a picnic at a local park or beach or your own backyard. Do things you'd normally do inside, like play board games or have a pillow fight. Take it outside. Go for a group jog. Even the little ones can run. I mean, you want to slow it down so they can take part. Make s'mores in the evening. The sun is about to go down. So much fun. And they're so good. Plant a container garden. It's a great learning experience and something that you can treasure for weeks and months to come. Film a home movie. That's one of my favorite things to do. My kids used to do that. You can maybe write your own little screenplay or whatever. It's so much fun. Or recreate something. Eat homemade popsicles. Did you guys ever do that when you were younger? When you were little ones? Yeah. Have a water balloon fight in the backyard, guys. So much fun. Wash your car and make a fun time of it. you know? But yeah, you know what I mean. You get the point. Have fun out of doors with your family. Fresh air, sunlight. It's always good. Time now for my truth. Music can affect the body in many health promoting ways, which is the basis for really a growing field known as music therapy. Have you guys heard of that? Howard, you can use music in your daily life and achieve many stress relief from all the different anxieties that you can have that comes up throughout your day. You know what I mean? Getting up in the morning, some of us we bound right out of bed, and some of us, oh my goodness, it's like pulling teeth to get us up and going. We do, but incorporate some music into that. Get some upbeat music, some of your favorite party music, develop playlists for different times of the day that you can incorporate music into your life. And basically, it's a stress reliever. So create that playlist for the morning, get up and go before you leave the house. It helps you to get into a better headspace. And more importantly, have a different playlist or something more tangible to that commute so that you won't be the one with road rage, or it can help you deal with others that are out there driving like maniacs on the road. It will help you stay into or get into a headspace where you're more calm on that commute. You know what I mean? So, whatever it is, some upbeat or some jazz or whatever you think is good for you while you're driving. I like more of a jazzy kind of thing because it's that beat. It's a continuous type thing because I'm driving. It's like I got to get there kind of thing. You know what I mean? Not too much for me, but some people like that party music when they're on the way to work and whatever you need for you, do that because it really does help you get into a better headspace. And sometimes you can just switch to something classical. What? Classical? Yeah. Because sometimes you need to calm it down a little bit before you get into that job. So, just try something different, because it is music therapy that we're talking about right here. Um, and cooking. When you get back home and you're cooking a meal, it's really important to make healthy food. You heard me speak about that before on other episodes. And it also helps you to keep your stress level down and you're eating at home. It's a great way to ensure that you're going to make healthy meals and they're going to be less expensive than eating out. Put on that music, some smooth jazz or similar genre that helps you get into that cooking mode so that you can enjoy cooking and it becomes a fun activity rather than a chore. You know what I mean? And you can even play some soothing, soft background music while you are eating. I know a lot of people, you want it totally quiet while you're having a meal, and that's fine. But sometimes in the background, just some subtle, soft background music, it's probably a good thing. And I know a lot of you already do this. Music when you're cleaning up. That's when you go for it. You know what I mean? That's when my music is like, yes, because I want something that's going to keep me going because I'm dancing through my chores, vacuuming, sweeping, mopping. You know what I mean? You got it going, right? And, it really does. It really does make it less than a chore. I mean, it's still a chore. You still got to get it done. So play music. It's the therapy of it. It gets you in a better headspace. So play music, you know, even when you're paying your bills. What? Yes. We all need to pay our bills, but the job doesn't always take a high degree of concentration. You do the same thing. You go online, click a couple of buttons or whatever. So playing music while you write your checks can help your mind, keep your mind off of that financial stress you may be feeling, because it's like a distraction. You have to do it so it makes it a little bit more enjoyable when you're playing music. And also before you go to bed at night. Getting enough sleep is super important for proper functioning and getting enough sleep so that we can be ready for the next day and to handle stress better. But a lot of us, we don't get those 6, 7, 8 hours that we need, and we don't know how to relax or wind down at the end of the day. So, playing music as you drift off is just Another way to counteract the effects of a stressful day by taking your mind off what's stressing you. Music can help slow you down and slow your breathing down and soothe your mind. So just try some of these things, if you haven't already, or just use them a little bit more because music therapy does work. And that's my truth. It's time for my favorite part of the show, Pathway. In 1987, after having spent 7 years of his life surrounded by a musically talented family, Mrs. Darlene Jones felt that it was time for her youngest son, Keelan Jones, to nourish his musical talent. His mother's encouragement materialized in her purchase of his first snare. According to Keelan, after picking up the sticks and playing on my first snare, I never wanted to stop playing. The foundation of his talent, developing into a career, has proved to be his early but expensive experience playing at churches in Chicago, Illinois, and surrounding metropolitan areas. Here now, my wonderful conversation with the amazing Keelan Jones. You are a musician, and I have worked with you in the past on a few projects, and it was so much fun. And so, how did you begin? Let's go back into Keelan's life. When did you start playing instruments? And what was like the most fun instrument for you? Because you play a few.
Yeah, I started on drums when I was 6 years old. I started playing in church, and the typical upbringing of a church musician. And I played up until 12 years old, and that's when I started incorporating the bass guitar. And so, yeah, ever since 12, I've been playing both simultaneously, and it's been great. It's been better to have two instruments instead of one.
Really?
I can say it like that. Yeah. Sometimes, but for the most part, yeah, I can say it's been better to have two.
Okay. Something like Prince, he plays all these multiple instruments. I love it. So I know when I first saw you, I think I saw you on the guitar, bass. And then another time I saw you in a set, you were playing the drums. I'm like, okay. And I don't think I saw you on the keyboard. Did I ever see you on keyboards?
No, if you did, it wasn't doing anything serious. I fool around with it here and there, but I'm not really a keyboard player.
Awesome. Now I know that you have been playing for a lot of local artists, and I have been with you on a few of those shows and so forth. Tell me about some of the experiences that you've had working with local artists with their platforms, and not your solo career, but helping them with theirs. Who have you been working with?
Oh man.
The sky's the limit, right?
Yeah, I mean, I've worked with a lot of different solo artists, groups, choirs, just a lot of artists in general throughout my years, and it was probably the most valuable and crucial time, especially my younger years when I first started, because it allowed me to develop my sense of professionalism and kind of set in stone what my identity was at an early age, and what to pursue. So yeah, it kind of just gave me guidance to my life. I kind of knew what I wanted to be, and kind of knew my calling, my purpose, if you want to call it that. I kind of knew that early on, and
right.
That's a part of that. Playing with different artists locally kind of helped me, as I said before, develop my professionalism. But that simply means it just gave me the building blocks and the tools on my tool belt to be able to do it professionally on a broader level eventually later on in my life.
Right, exactly. Who would you say has been probably the biggest influence in your life in terms of the genre of music that you probably you cater to or you prefer?
So many. But the most influential, It's hard to say.
Right.
Because at this point, I've probably been through many phases or seasons
Okay.
of my career, and
Mm-hmm.
each season has had pillars, key people that that were vital to that season. So it's a combination of both, man. I just learned to be inspired by excellence. I
Mm-hmm.
could
Oh, wow.
sum it up like that. Yeah, people that were around me, involved in my life, and it just portrayed excellence in what they did. That kind of inspired me the most.
Right. Right. So you don't have like a preferred genre of music, or so you're not that you're all over the place, but I mean, I know you've played all kinds of music. So what are you most comfortable playing, or do you have a comfortability level?
I'm probably the most comfortable playing, gospel, obviously, because I was born into that. But aside from that, some jazz fusion, um, a little R&B here and there. Those are probably my comfort zones as far as what I play the most. But I like challenges, so I like music that's not commonly or not popular amongst a lot of people.
Oh,
Um, there are different things just to kind of take you away from the norm, and challenges to make you stretch outside of what you normally used to doing.
right. You spoke of challenges. What has been a challenge for you in your career?
So to get back to the two instruments being a good thing, another side to that is challenging because you got two instruments to maintain. So it's two separate crafts, really under the umbrella of music, but two different skills that you got to keep both of them up to par. You don't want to. I guess my challenge was like having to be flexible enough to go with the seasons of my life, because some seasons required to be a drummer more than a bass player. Other seasons required me to be a bass player more than a drummer. And as I got more into producing, some seasons required me just to be a producer or a producer and a bass player. So it's just that's probably the most challenging, man, being flexible to what's needed of you and not so much what you want to do, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense. It makes perfect sense. And you spoke of producing. When did you start producing?
I always liked to when I was younger, I used to listen to a lot of songs and make different arrangements and do different vibes to what was already recorded. So that turned into a passion for producing early on, probably at the age of 16, 17. I think I produced a song for my mom around that age frame, and she did her first single. And after I did that for her, I was kind of hooked, and I just started learning more about the softwares and the plugins and just the whole language. And it was a tool that I didn't have to dive into with the understanding of I got to learn it and get perfect and get good at it quick, because I have money to make and bills to pay. But that was probably the one I just took it as it came. Over the years I learned more. I kept doing it, learned more, building programs and shows and putting together arrangements for different artists, and it just became into this producer thing. It's like the third passion, I guess you would call it.
Okay, a third passion. I love it. I love it.
Yeah,
And yeah, so that probably is what led you into writing for yourself and producing your first solo project, right?
absolutely. Yeah, that first project was birthed from a lot of things. At that particular time in my life, I think that was 2010. I had gotten into a car accident, and long story short, I had to have surgery and do some rehab and get some strength back. And that kind of affected my drumming ability, which is my primary thing. So it didn't it didn't put a stop to it, but it definitely it made me rethink some things as far as how I wanted to be set up for my future and how I wanted to avoid being in a spot like I was then, feeling like, um, here you are, you got this thing that you do every day, thing you love to do, and you could one day be faced with the possibility of never being able to do it again. What would you do in that instance? So went back to school and I got my degree and just try to set myself up in more better ways, just so I wouldn't have to only depend on music, not only being income, but being a source of, you know, having my personal confidence. So I wanted to just build up things still around music. Like I said, when I got my bachelor's in music at the age of 29, that was a challenge in itself. on top of the accident, and then that same year, I became the music director of my church. That was a whole boatload of responsibility added on. It was a lot that happened. So 2 years after getting to school, I decided I need to put this, in some type of art form. Since I'm an artist, and this, what better stories or a better way to make music than from your own personal experiences. So that's what I came out with, the Flip Side album, and it was titled Flip Side, the Mentality. And the whole concept of that was life is how you look at it. Every hurdle that comes your way, there's always the other side to the coin.
Mm-hmm.
And so, it just depends on how you want to view your situation. And I was speaking to my situation. How did I want to view myself now that I went through what I was, going through? Rather, I was going through what I was going through, but I choose to look at it positively and make more from it. So from that birth Flip Side, and then my production company, Backbeat Productions, and then from that allowed me a whole lot of opportunities with endorsements and companies and new artists and new opportunities. And yeah, it just kind of sparked from there. But yeah.
I love it. I agree with you. A lot of times when artists go through trials and tribulations in their life, like you spoke about the accident or just heartache, pain, you do get inspiration from that, and you flipped it, you turned it around. And I like the title, The Flip Side. And yeah, that's amazing to me. And I'm happy that you were able to muscle through that and find yourself in that, and to come out with that amazing CD, which I have, by the way. I love it. I love it.
Awesome.
Oh yeah, I love it. And so, what's going on in your future? What projects are you working on in the near future?
We're currently in the process of doing my second project. So, like I said, Flip Side, my debut project was all instrumental songs, so more on the jazz type of market. But this song is I'm going a different route, so I'm doing half and half. So half instrumental, half songs with singers, and just trying a different route, man. Trying to speak to, as they say, music projects are only a snapshot of what the artist is going through at that time in history. So I want to kind of capture what we just went through, what I went through since, my last project, as well as the pandemic, as well as post-pandemic, or just kind of speak to something that can help people as a whole to where we are now. The first song we released in January, it was entitled The Light. And that's just kind of speaking to, I can see the light. Have you ever been, in moments where you feel like you just can't win? And just the ups and downs of life, and ups and downs more specifically of this last year and a half. I'm sure the last year and a half has rocked everybody's world, but there is a light. It's not the end all be all. The mask and the quarantine isn't where life ends. It's not the end of humanity. It's not where we're going to end. So I just wanted to kind of inspire people to get back into life and get past the hurdles, get past the ups and downs. And I got another song we're working on that should be released pretty soon here, but that's called Spread Love. So it's another singer song on the new record coming up. And that's a phenomenal hit. It's kind of a collaboration of singing, soul singing with rap. And it's interesting because I've never been into like full rap, but I know a lot of people who are. So I'm just trying to mesh the two worlds together. And it came out pretty good, I believe. So we'll see shortly, I guess.
So do you have a release date yet, or is that something
Not yet.
you're going to? Okay.
Yeah, not yet. We've been working on it for a while, but since becoming the executive producer for C2, there are a number of other artists that I had to work on at the same time while working on my project. So just trying to keep things organized and not rush anything because
Exactly.
everything needs to come out hitting hard. So my efforts are going in multiple different places, but yeah, soon enough.
Well, I can't wait. I'm excited because I know Flipside is the bomb. I love it. And it
Oh
is
man.
so I can't tell you. I still listen to it. I mean, it's just everything, it just brings you like
Wow.
it centers you and it gives you that, that extra beat, that up when you're down. I'm serious, sometimes I put it on when I'm driving or whatever, I download it. I mean, it's wonderful. If you guys haven't gotten it, you need to. It's so tight. The instrumentals, oh my God. I can go on and on. I mean, really, it is the truth.
Wow.
You
Truly
did
humble.
that. You did that on that CD. I am so serious. I can't say enough about it. And I'm super excited about your upcoming project. And like you said, quality takes time. And I know it's going to be phenomenal when you are ready to release it. Can you talk about, are there any specific artists that you're collaborating with on this new project, or is that something you're keeping mum right now?
I can give you a couple. I know one is the first one we released, The Light, that's featuring an artist native to Chicago. Her name is Isa Jones. That may not be her. I'm sorry, that may not be the correct last name. Isa is her stage name, but she's done some work with currently with Tyrese and a few other artists, mainstream artists, and she's a phenomenal artist herself.
Wow.
And just had the chance an opportunity to add on the artist, and I was looking for somebody to fill this song, and then my god brother Richard Gibbs, who's another one of my great mentors, he had a connection. He said, "Hey man, let's make it happen." So I said, "Yeah, let's make it happen," and she sung the song like she wrote it. So
that's awesome. So, are you writing some of the songs yourself, or is it
yep,
coming from? Oh wow.
that first song she did, I wrote that one. The next song, Spread Love, it was written to be a relationship song.
Okay.
But I had the writer of it tweak it to kind of meet the general needs and spreading love, because that's kind of what we need, especially the post-Floyd, George Floyd events and all that stuff worldwide. We just, needed to just send a different message out there and kind of switch things up. And I wanted to be a part of that. So I wanted him to revamp the song so we can make it fit to what we need today.
I love it. It's like Marvin Gaye did back in the day. There were a lot of those 70s and 80s artists were very productive in making music that went along with what's happening in the world at that time. And this is along those same lines. And I'm super excited. And I commend you on thinking along those lines, because as you said, we have gone through a lot with this pandemic. In the Black community, we were really hit hard. And on top of the pandemic, we have had all of this racism, that we've had to contend with decades. But then with the police, just going crazy, you know what I mean, with our Black men and this. And I like the fact that you're doing music that empowers and is just addressing and talking about that and letting people know that, hey, it's not over right now. You keep the hope. There's a light at the end of the tunnel. Move forward. We can get through this. And I really like that, the area where you're heading with your music. And so I would like to ask you, at this point of the show is time where I ask my guests to speak to my listeners about if there's someone out there that's going into this field, wanting to be a musician or a producer, what would you say to them to give them advice during this segment called Backward?
so much advice I can give with all my time, but I guess if I have to narrow it down, I would say just be serious about it. Like, treat it like, if it's what you want to do and solely what you want to do, then treat it like you need to pay bills. Be serious about it. Put your passion to it. Put your heart into it. I used to tell people a lot, one of my popular sayings is people pay for passion. They don't even have to like you, but they don't have to know you. But if they're going to be passionate about it and your product is good, how much money do we spend on products? We don't know who made this. We don't know who's behind this, but the product is so good. We need it in our lives. So if you treat your gift like that, or whatever your purpose is, if you treat it like that and you put hours into it and you study it and you stay relevant by staying current and not what you were 10 years ago, but what does the world need you to be now? I think you'll be successful long term.
I love that. I love that. Be passionate. Keelan Jones, it has been a pleasure. Thank you for stopping by and sharing what's going on in your world. I really appreciate it. And I wish you all the best. And I want you to come back at some time in the future when you release your new project.
That's it for this week. And thank you for listening to the show. Listeners, if you have a question about today's show or anything that you would like to ask me, send me an email at asklindaj@gmail.com and I will provide you with an answer. I'm not an expert on everything, but I've done a few things, learned a few things, and I've been around the block a few times. And I'll provide you with an answer. And I might just read your question on my show. Thanks for listening. Stay positive, be inspired, stay focused so that you too can join the ranks of They Made It Happen.